had like a particular project. It was in 2023. It was a project which is also like a job. So it was about $2,400 or so.
Yeah. For one job.
Yeah, it was for a particular gig that I had. I mean, they were even the ones that reached out and are you happy to take this gig? And I took it.
My friend Tobi Amure is the first year. Tobi is somebody I've known for quite some time. Say about 2 years, right? Great guy, a journalist, a believer. I've known you for quite some time, and I can like clearly say, "Oh, this is a young man that is doing very well for himself." I mean, I just want to like ask you, how did life start? Basically, like where were you born? Stuff like that. How did it all start?
According to my parents, because apparently they are the ones that would know. Anyways, so I was born in Isolo, Lagos.
Yeah.
Jakonde Estate. And that's where I was born. I mean, that's practically where I had my life. Isolo. I attended primary school around Ejigbo, which is still kind of close to Isolo. Then my secondary school was Isolo. Basically, so but my uni was, was in OAU.
Okay.
But yeah.
See, your family was like wealthy family or like average family or?
Well, there were times. There were times when things were difficult, and there were times when things were really good. I remember that we stayed in a face me I slap you house. Growing up as a child was not easiest because there were times when we needed to sometimes. Maybe we needed to borrow money from people or all this.
That's our life, right?
Exactly. Collect something from someone and say you pay later.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your salary hasn't dropped. So yeah, that's a lot.
So I mean, I know you studied pharmacy in OAU, right? So what was pharmacy in OAU?
Well, pharmacy was hell. It was hell because we had to read a lot. We had a lot of courses, but we had to like read a lot within a short period of time. I think that was the difference between pharmacy and medicine, because I mean they're all health-related courses, is that medical students operated on a different calendar. So we had like a shorter calendar to read a lot, and some of those things you didn't even really have to understand. You just had to cram and pour. So the people that did well were people that could cram and pour. So it wasn't necessarily about your intelligence, so to speak. Although I had a friend too, he could cram, but was very intelligent. Almost like that Rancho guy in 3 Idiots. Exactly. That guy could cram when a particular lecturer was like, oh, he wanted him to cram, but he also understood. But most people that really did well in pharmacy school were people that could cram.
So I mean, at what point is it because of the whole issue around pharmacy outside, like you left it, or what?
What point really was when things were difficult, because pharmacists, I mean, it's the narrative that pharmacists in this part of the world are not paid well. In fact, health practitioners are not paid well. That's why you see a lot of people on Twitter now where I matched. What's
that talking about?
There's people that like go like residency programs
in the US.
Exactly in the US.
Oh,
so they use that, write some qualifying exams and from. So it was at that point that I thought about it. The earning capacity of a health worker is terrible. When I did my internship in Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, our director was earning, I think our salary was, I wasn't particularly sure, but from what I heard was around, was it 500k, 600k?
Insurance.
Exactly. And that was like maybe some 5 years ago. And I'm even sure that even, right now, they probably would have revisited it and everything, but it might just be maybe grossing about $1 million. But if you get a very good gig, as a writer, exactly, if you're like a senior writer, like me in some cases, you make so much money. So it was at that point I started to analyze it.
Did you practice pharmacy at all?
Oh, I did. I mean, my internship, aside the internship, I practiced a little too. So I was doing my internship alongside. I was also working in the community pharmacy. In Yaba too. So I did that too.
And what was the pay like?
What was the pay like? The pay was like 100k per month then. I mean, for me then, I was still complaining. The money was still in a way even large then, but it was still a problem. So there had always really been a problem with the money. I mean, if you're being paid 100k now as a pharmacist now, it's terrible. I think their salary range is about 300, 400, but I mean, it was still very poor then. So I practiced then. I also practiced at a place around, was it Ilukpeju also too. I also did that. Ilukpeju Banikuru Axis. I also practiced as a pharmacist. So it was at that point seeing, the salary I had to work with, it was at that point that I decided that, and I already heard about Upwork and I'd done that briefly, a little, freelancing a little.
Journalism, right? That's like what you do full time now. So at what point did you like say, this is what I want to do, full time? This is actually what I want to like put all my effort and energy into. And how's it been?
So for journalism, I actually stumbled into it. It started when I opened my Upwork account. I was trying to look for a niche to specialize into. And then in 2020, crypto was the hot thing then. Even at that time, I didn't really know so much about crypto. But on my Upwork, I just wrote crypto writer. Then there was a particular firm that was looking for crypto writers and maybe an SEO specialist that I didn't know so much about. So I just put that there and I got invited. So it was then I had to learn on the job. And I thought that was nice, because the opportunities that come with journalism is that you get to interview top experts.
Yeah.
And aside from that, so people want to speak to you. It was even around that time I also got my Twitter verification too, because for Twitter then either had to be a politician or an artist or a journalist to get verified, because people impersonate people too. So the journey has actually been very interesting. Because people actually want to speak to you because they know that you are the one that can air their opinion or air their thoughts. So experts want to connect with you because you can put them out. Brands want to connect with you. So on so far. And I don't think I'm going to stop with journalism anytime soon.
And of course, like the payers,
obviously the pay is
basically change everything, right?
Actually.
So I mean, in terms of like global opportunities, right? How do you one of the things we believe in this part of the world is that some people believe that you cannot be in Nigeria, right? Or you cannot be in Ghana, you cannot be in Kenya and access global opportunities, right? Which is one of the things we pit against. So how are you able to harness access global opportunities as a journalist, right?
Well, like you rightly said, to be very candid, there are some opportunities actually limited. Like you see some jobs where they tell you it's just strictly for people in the US. There are some firms that want to hire globally. Some don't mind. Some, whether your race or wherever you're from, they want to hire you. So it's actually opened a lot of doors for me, to be honest. It's opened a lot of doors. I've been able to meet like top people, been able to connect with top people. And that's the thing, because on a normal day, there are some people I will not talk to or meet. But being a journalist and writing for several brands. In fact, there's a particular brand I just started working with, and I'm sure it's because I'd worked for Investopedia. Some people even say that they want to work with you. I had somebody reach out to me. That was, I think, so I'm a CCI member. So there was a year. There was like, I think it was when we had the anniversary. I think maybe shortly after that program, somebody messaged me that, you work with Investopedia, blah blah blah. I'd like to work with you.
But I was going to ask how the Investopedia gig came.
The Investopedia gig actually came as a result of me applying. Actually, it was not like it came to me. And that's another misconception people have, is that they just expect that jobs come to them. That Investopedia gig, I had to apply 2 times. The first time I didn't get it. The second time I got it. In fact, I was working with my editor for a while. They laid her off, and I stopped working in Investopedia. But I was able to get back in. But the point I'm trying to drive at is that for that Investopedia gig, I had to really apply. Before good things start coming to you, you have to actually apply before you get seen. Things will not just come to you. So when you even see someone that is succeeding at something, it's hard to try multiple times. Even still, there's certain companies I would even still like to work with, that have been pitching, but I've not gotten back to hear back from them. But will not change my, still wanting to work with them, and I still try to pitch them and still try to go out at it.
All right. In terms of pay, right? Let's talk money. So, like, what's the highest amount you've earned for a job, for a gig, right? As a journalist.
I think I had like a particular project. It was in 2023. It was a project which is also like a job. So it was about $2,400 or so.
For one job.
It was for a particular gig that I had. I mean, they were even the ones that reached out and are you happy to take this gig? And I took it, and that was the amount yet so far. I mean, obviously, I envisioned that there will still be other gigs that will give me more money.
Yeah, beautiful. In terms of monthly, like what's the highest in a month? Your career so far?
Well, because I'm a freelancer, that's a bit hard to pin down. But I think there was a particular month where I did like some analysis. About $5,000.
That was like how many years ago?
Oh, not years ago. It was like recently, maybe about 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's
With the current exchange rate, that's crazy, right?
But also with the inflation rate, it's not as crazy as
definitely. So I just want to ask, like, if you were to give an advice to a young Nigerian, a young Ghanaian, right, what would be, who is trying to find, I think, not necessarily, as a journalist, not necessarily as a writer, right, but say somebody who, like us, when we said somebody who maybe also had their family, had the kind of family where the mother would say, go borrow from a neighbor, right, and they feel like there's no hope for them. What would be like your advice for them? And
a couple of things actually is all embodied into a lot of things. So first things first, I would say get a skill. Yes, get a skill, leverage the internet. Now, I
Yeah.
usually say that, I usually tell people that um, if you're broke now in this day and age, it might probably be because you're not curious enough. Get a skill, use the internet, use YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a particular lady's tweet I came across. She said that everything she learned was on YouTube. So you can use YouTube to learn,
Yeah.
leverage AI, put yourself out there too. So make noise about what you do. And put yourself out there, make noise about what you do. Even when eventually you get a gig,
Yeah.
and you get it done, you should under promise and over deliver.
Yeah,
I
I
see
love that.
a
I
lot
love
of
that.
Africans actually over promise and under deliver. That's a problem, because for you to get better
Yeah.
at doing your or at getting more gigs, you have to picture what you do as a business. Especially if you're going to have to go in it full time, is that you see what you are doing as a business, because it's what fits you.
Yeah.
So you have to under promise and over deliver, like
Yeah.
deliver so much
Yeah.
that you can get referred. And that's how people grow with businesses. There's some certain people that will not want to just work with a total stranger. They are going to ask that, oh, can you vouch for this person?
Yeah.
Or say some, I think I don't know why I was telling, it was a friend, I think I was telling him that there are some jobs that are not even announced. Some jobs are not announced.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to hear about them, but you still
That's-
find out that
Yeah.
they hire someone. There was a particular person I was developing a relationship with, and I was asking that for this particular gig, I did not see them call out for people,
Yeah.
but yet I still see people writing for them. And he told me that there was a particular time that his editor, I had freelance writers, I had journalists, but that his editor is not looking to hire now, but that when he's looking to hire, that he's going to let him know.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to over deliver such that people can always refer you. So you have to do your work like you don't have any other job again. You do it so much that you know that your next job is dependent on how much you deliver on your last job.
Yeah.
And that's my advice.
Okay, another one. What's your advice to the pharmacist trying to become a journalist?
Oh, well, there are actually a lot of opportunities, really.
Yeah.
And that's the non-conventional route. I'm more of like a finance journalist.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are other arms. I mean, if you want to be a journalist, there are finance journalism. So there was somebody on LinkedIn, was it yesterday, that said he's looking for freelance journalists that have medical experience. That there are lots of opportunities. So even beyond even the US, there are African publications that are looking for journalists. So you can apply that while still being in the core pharmacy profession, still be able to apply your knowledge as a journalist. Being a journalist just means telling stories, adding sources, adding your insights.
Yeah.
It's
So
nothing more.
do you think, is there an opportunity for you to come back into pharmacy, or is journalism for the rest of your life?
No, actually, I'm more of someone that these days I've been thinking big. Also having other things aside from even just being a journalist. I also want to have like other businesses. I've always been dreaming to have like maybe a community pharmacy or having a chain of pharmacies. So it's also something I like. Back in school too, there was my project supervisor. I worked on something called CADD, computer aided drug design. It was something that fascinated me because it dealt with how to see how the drugs work before having to get it ingested. So there's this stuff we do in pharmacy called there's pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics. So you can get to know how drugs would work. You can mimic that effect on the computer before ingesting the drug. So it's something that really fascinated me. And being someone that is tech savvy that likes the computer, so I mean, I might further research into that.
This is like my first YouTube video. And then the essence of this channel basically is to tell stories, right? Stories of young Africans who are doing great stuff. People who, people who have had it tough, right? Or who had it tough growing up, and then today they're doing great stuff for themselves.
Yeah, what do you think about